Hey, still to my brother, what's happening?
Hey, fantasy, in session. We talking touchdowns, receptions, interceptions. They got a band and kicker, we need that correction. Swap them out, we flexing. How many of y'all you collect? We trying to get that winning record. Fantasy, in session.
You.
What up, though?
And we back. Week 14 is almost playoffs.
What it is, hope is what it should be. Welcome to another episode of Fantasy in Session, the podcast. Today is December the 8th, and the boys are back in town. As always, if you're listening to this, wherever you're at, make sure that you like, subscribe to the podcast. We're on the way to 200 subscribers on YouTube. Today, it's the last week before most playoffs, you know what I'm saying? Unless you play weird playoffs like toward the end of the season. This is it. How y'all feeling, guys? How y'all feeling?
Starting to get that feeling, bro. That anxious feeling, man. I'm telling you, bro. It was weird, bro, because this is the first week where, you know, it's an 18-game season, so we had to push back the playoffs a week. Like, I'm thinking, like, it was so many times last week, I'm thinking it was the last week, bro, but, you know, I forgot that we had an extra week, but it's crazy, bro. You know,
I'm doing shit like setting my lineups and shit. It's crazy. Like, I'm really like going like beyond going bonkers over here. It's really giving me anxiety.
Yeah, got a couple buys locked up.
Right? It's fucking.
I mean,
money. You gotta secure the bag.
Yeah, I got like a couple buys locked up, but I mean, it ain't playoffs yet. But for a lot of people, it's playoffs this week.
Exactly.
It's like you gotta set the perfect lineup. You want to set the perfect lineup, so you going out with everything you got. You know, because you either got to buy or you fight for that 5th or 6th seed. Because I'm in a lot of leagues where everybody's 76, 8-5, and 9.
I sound like Al Michaels from Sunday Night Football. You gotta get the bye.
Letting these folks know you gotta put them up on game.
Sure. But hey, that's facts, though, bro. Like playoffs start next week, but the last couple weeks, bro, it seems like it's been like playoff matchups. You get matched up with somebody you're fighting for with trying to get that bye locked up.
Anytime I play
for a playoff spot, bro, like it's really the playoffs already, but you know they officially start next week. So
shout out to Boston Scott for your 0. That was cool, bro. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Boston.
Shout out to Josh Allen.
Thanks, Josh Allen.
Windy City game, not doing anything.
Bro, that wasn't his fault, bro. It was something.
Why are you saying fuck all those guys?
I mean, they just had a bad week for all fantasy players out there. So
were you playing somebody this week? Were you playing?
I play a lot of people every week.
Oh, were you playing somebody like in a certain league or something? Like, because you
named having so many.
You named like certain players from that one team.
All right,
shout out to Dallas Goddard. Shout out to Dallas Goddard.
If you guys didn't know, me and Gage were fighting for a bye, like we just mentioned. Like it was a playoff game last week. Bro. We freaking sold our entire future to try to beat each other last week.
I don't have like a first round pick for the next 3 years or something.
Right. Gage sold 2 firsts for Thielen, and then Thielen went out. That's why you sold 2 firsts for Thielen. That's why that would have hurt me.
Hey, Javon, you wasn't there, but we was talking about on Sunday. Shout out to Tonio. Shout out your birthday. Shout out to Tonio. Happy birthday, bro. We was talking. It was like a lot of the people that was in the league that's over there. We were talking about just like demolishing the league.
Yeah, of course, me and Gabe were the top 2 saying that shit, bro. Like, we ain't got no fucking picks. Let's blow this shit up, boy.
I think we should put it to the vote, bro. I think we should put it to the vote.
What they were saying.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a lot of no's. It wasn't a lot of no's.
Boom won with it. He got 20 picks in the next 3 years. So
we can finesse him with, you know what I'm saying, compensating him, you know what I'm saying, with some first round picks. I'm cool with that. Because
man, fuck that, bro. We need to we need to get all the inactive owners out of there, bro. But I'm cool with embracing the rebuild. Like I told y'all,
I mean,
lose a job, bro. I'm rebuilding after this year, bro, because I can't just not have any picks, bro. Like I gotta.
But who is it going to be? That's what I'm saying. But who is it going to, you know what I'm saying? Like, if we don't have, shout out to anybody that want to join the league, man. If y'all listen to this, y'all want to join the league.
Right. Hit us up, add us on Twitter, and let us know you want to join the league, and we'll figure something out, man. We usually start a league every year. We get kind of stingy with it because we're in a lot of leagues.
I don't want to start no more. I think we should just like fix the ones we in.
I kind of want to start some more. I ain't gonna lie.
Damn. All right, I'll do it. But
all right, you don't need to do it either. Gage don't need to start no more.
The ones I started anyway, man. They don't want to hear us talk, man. Let's get moment of silence out. What Jabari? Go ahead. Jabari want to give it. I want to mess it up, so Jabari can go ahead and tell what happened.
Oh yeah.
I try not to put stuff like that in my spirit, bro. I don't be trying to read all the articles.
I ain't read it all, so I'm just gonna give you, the outlook of it. I'm in the same boat as you. I'm a black man, so I ain't really trying to get all into it. But on the outside, it was just he was in and out of some trouble, and he went and tried to get help and
you gotta say who he is.
Glenn Foster, he was an ex-Saints DN player. He got in police custody, and 2 days after that, he died. And, every day we give a shout out for situations like this, moments of silence, just to remember our Black kings and queens who have fallen throughout situations similar to this, and for people who are affected directly from things like this and indirectly. So, yeah, we're just not going to go too much into it, but we'll just give it that. Shout out to Glenn Foster and everybody affected from this situation. And we want to give a second shout out to them and everybody.
It's Dolph. Hey,
Let's
to
go.
lighten the mood up, bro. Javar is one person that I do notice that if he say he not gonna talk for a long time, he gonna still talk for a long time. He said, "Man, I ain't going." You know what I'm saying? Do all this and all that, but meanwhile, he's still talking the whole time. Crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
You know how I go.
But let's get into what the people here for, man. Week 14, playoffs are among us. You know what I'm saying? Winter is coming. It's looking like some sad puppy dogs out there or some anxious ones, but you know what I'm saying? But listen to the session. We'll guide you through that. Pittsburgh, Thursday night football in Minnesota in the Dome. Pittsburgh at the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings 3.5-point favorites with a 43-point over-under. The starts I got for Pittsburgh is pretty much the obvious starts. We got Najee Harris, number 5, running back in PPR leagues. He hasn't reached the end zone in the last 2 weeks, so his points been a little down, but he is the number 1 target getter out of the backfield among all running backs in the NFL this year. And the Vikings are averaging 6 targets per game to the running backs since week 10, so I like him. Deontay Johnson, of course, he's a stud. I like Chase Claypool this week. Hasn't scored a touchdown since week 5. Only had 1 all year. And the volume hasn't necessarily been the problem. He's still second on the team in targets. He just has that high A-dot, and we know Big Ben is not going to throw the ball as deep as often. But he is expected to see a lot of Breeland this year, who's graded as a 48 on the year, so I do like him. Let's see. I'd like Pat
bleeding points.
Bleeding points, yeah, bro. I also like Pat Firemouth. He didn't get into the end zone last week. Also, the yards haven't been there. He's only been over 50 yards once this year, but he's still averaging around 5 to 6 targets a game since week 6. The Vikings haven't allowed a touchdown to the tight end position since week 10. But I still think you start him just because of the volume he's going to expected to get out there. And I like a lot of these dome games this week, you know what I'm saying, with the weather being changing out there. We saw how the weather affected that Patriots game. That was the sickest Bill Belichick caught offense. In the
3 passes, bro. That shit was crazy.
Shout out to Mac Jones, bro. Started you.
Did you hear Matt Judon? You started him, bro? Oh, no. Bro.
I didn't have no choice at that point. But, I mean, it's not like I had, options. But, shout out to you, Matt Jones, for sure.
Did you hear what Matt Judon said? Sorry to get distracted here. But he was like, shout out to everybody on offense, except Mac Jones. He really didn't do nothing but hand the ball off. That is what he did.
You see what they asked the Bills safeties? They was like, are y'all embarrassed? And then
what kind of question is that? I come out here every week. I remember that. He was so salty, bro.
A fringe player that I got Big Ben. He's been, a bottom. Big Ben. He's been a bottom in QB2 most of the year, QB 22 on the year, but the last 4 weeks he's been QB 16. He missed week 10 because of that injury, but he still has had 6 touchdowns the last 3 weeks, and the Vikings are giving up the 5th most fantasy points to the quarterback since week 10. And like I said, they're going to be in the Dome. He is dealing with that pectoral injury or whatever it is, but he's practicing full today. I normally don't like. I mean, this is never for first. One QB leagues, but definitely for 2 QB leagues. I like him this week. I normally don't like starting people on Thursday if I can help it, but I think Big Ben's have a good week this week, even though the over under is pretty low. It's been a lot of low over unders. I don't know if that's like Vegas adjusting to the year or what.
Yeah, I noticed that too. That when I was writing these games up, it might be. I mean, the weather is definitely an issue at this time of the year, so it definitely has something to do with it, I believe.
Yeah, that's all I got for that side of the ball. Then we go on to the other side of the ball. Of course, we're gonna start Alexander Madison. He's pretty much Dalvin Cook clone. Of course, he's gonna start Justin Jefferson. I think he gets force fed the ball now. With Thielen, I think he's pretty much out, right? They haven't officially ruled him out.
He ruled him out. They ruled him out.
Okay, so I think he gets force fed the ball. I think Tyler Conklin benefits the most from Thielen being out. 9 targets. Hold on. Ooh, Jesus.
Bless you.
9 targets. Hey,
I've never heard somebody say before they sneeze, bro. Here come another one.
Watch out.
Tyler Conklin, I do think benefits the most from Thielen being out. 9 targets last week, caught 7 of them for 56 yards. He didn't get into the end zone. The Steelers have been pretty tough against the tight end, the 3rd fewest fantasy points to the position. But I think Thielen sees the volume enough to give him a safe game to pull through.
Conklin?
What did I say? Yeah, Conklin, my bad, bro. The sneezes threw me off. The fringes, I got KJ Osborne, of course, with Thielen being out. He had 7 targets last week, and he played the most snaps he's played all year. Cousins has showed trust with Osborne, but I don't know. It's kind of like shaky with me, you know what I mean? But he should be on the field for more 2 wide receiver sets. How y'all feel about KJ?
I think a solid flex play. That's for this week, especially with the Keenan Allen and Mike Williams news that's going through. So he's going to be in a lot of lineups, and I think he's going to be a decent sex play. 5 to 6 targets, he get 40 to 60 yards. That's a decent amount of flex play. If he getting a touchdown, he the man. I'm starting in a couple leagues.
Kirk Cousins, I also got him as a fringe play this week, even though they did lose against the Lions. He was pretty stable, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. The Steelers have had a couple injuries, you know what I'm saying, in the past, and that's why the defense has been giving up a lot of points as of recent, but what's his name? Mika Fitzpatrick came back last week. TJ Watt was back, so the defense should be at full strength again, I believe. Don't quote me on that. And they allow so I think that Kirk Cousins might have a little bit of a rough game. So, yeah, I mean, you can start him, but I just got him as a fringe play this week.
Cousins been balling lately, man.
Right. I about to say quarterback 2 leagues. Of course, you're starting them in quarterback 1 leagues. I mean,
that's what I mean. The quarterback 1 leagues. That's the question.
He close to a top 12 play. He ain't no less than a 15.
I think he had a bottom. I think he had a bottom QB1 this week, maybe.
Kirk Cousins or Joe Burrow against San Francisco?
Joe Burrow. I don't know.
I'm going Cousins.
I'm going Cousins.
Go Burrow.
I don't know. That defense, I'm telling you, that defense, man. I might go Burrow.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to go Burrow.
Their defense been shit lately. I know they're getting healthier.
They've been injured. Yeah, look at
Is everybody coming back?
Yeah, I told you, TJ Watt was back last week, and Nick Patrick. Who did they beat last week? They beat somebody. They beat the Ravens, right?
Ravens.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
the Ravens lost. They didn't beat the Ravens. The Ravens lost.
All right, one more. Kirk Cousins or Stafford against Arizona?
I like Stafford because I think that'd be more of a shootout.
I just can't sit my. I feel like you started
Stafford's been a little too consistent this year.
Yeah, you starting Stafford. Burrow and the Cousins was more safer, but I'm just looking at Burrow still got his weapons. Kirk Cousins doesn't, so that's why I went Burrow there.
Yeah, and without Thielen, so especially with the Steelers being back, if they shut down Justin Jefferson, you know what I'm saying, and with no Dalvin Cook too. I know Alexander Madison is cool, but we'll see.
I still like him though. I said top 15, 16 quarterback.
Top 12 quarterback the last 5 weeks.
I know every week I doubt him, he proves me wrong. So I'm not doubting him. I say he on the fridge. I didn't say sit him, but if you got to play him, you know what I'm saying? Smoke him if you got him. On to the next game, we got the New Orleans Saints at the Jets. The Saints are 5-point favorites with a 43-point over-under. We saw the Taysom Hill project last week. He's pretty much the Konami code. It wasn't pretty, but he did a 20-point job. So how y'all feel about Taysom Hill this week?
Yeah, he definitely had your boy worried over here, bro, because he threw like legit 3 picks in a row.
I was confused that when he had 20 points. I was like, how the hell did he do that?
Deontay Harris literally got that garbage time touchdown at the end of the game, bro. That shit was so wild, bro. I thought he was going to get pulled, bro, because he threw 3 picks in a row. So he has that little mallet finger that they were talking about. They said it's not as severe as Russell Wilson, so he is expected to play this week. And I am throwing him back out there. He's now started 5 games over the last 2 years, and he's averaging 21 points per game and finishes a top 12 quarterback in all 5 of those games, averaging over 60 rush yards and has 4 touchdowns on the ground in those games as well. And now he gets a Jets team that's allowing 23 points per game, which is the 5th most to quarterbacks over the last 5 weeks. So all signs are pointing to go for Taysom Hill this week. So I'm starting him. Even in 1 QB leagues, I guess it depends on your other options, but I think he's super safe as long as he keeps rushing like that. So he is a start for me. Kamara is looking like he's going to play this week. He's practicing in full now. So definitely starting him. Remember the stat we brought up last week, and it proved true. Miles Sanders was doing good before he got banged up. Freaking Kenneth Gainwell had the game of his fucking career out there against the Jets. So he's a must start every week, but it's like DFS.
RB1.
Yeah, exactly. He has overall RB1 potential this week. Mark Ingram, I wrote him up, but he's on the COVID list now, so he's not going to be playing this week. So I'm just going to skip past him.
Even more Carr.
Exactly. And Ty Montgomery should be mixed in. So I guess if you're desperate, just because of the matchup with them allowing so many points to the running back, he was playing the Kamara role, so I'm not sure, if he's what type of role he will play, but I don't think they're going to have Kamara out there every snap. That's probably how he got injured the first time. So I do expect Montgomery to be mixed in. Don't force him in your lineup, but if you're in a pinch, if you have Jonathan Taylor on bye or somebody on bye and you need, somebody to, that's going to give you some flex value, I think Ty Montgomery could do that this week. Not starting any of the Saints receivers. Deontay Harris was interesting, but he's suspended for 3 games now. Traquan Smith, maybe, but these guys are just too inconsistent for me to trust, this close to the playoffs. So I'm going to sit all of these guys. On to the Jets side, start Elijah Moore if he plays. I know he popped up on the injury report this week with a groin injury, but if he does play, he is an automatic start at this point. Since week 7, he's 7th in targets, 10th in receiving yards, 16th in yards per route run, and he's the number 4 receiver in that span, averaging 15 points in half PPR scoring. So, and also the worries were pretty much laid to rest last week with Zack Wilson under center. That's finally what we really needed to see was him have a good game with their QB of the future, apparently. So, it was good to see that. I think he's a solid wide receiver 2 option against the Saints, who have been kind of struggling on defense lately. They're allowing the 9th most points to receivers in the last 5 weeks. Fringe starters, I didn't want to say this, but just because of the matchup, I gotta just say, as a fringe start, QB2 leagues, maybe Zack Wilson did have his best game of the year last week, completing 23 passes for over 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Also scored 1 on the ground and finished with 21 points. And you think Saints, you think that they have a good defense, but they haven't really been good at all, especially against quarterbacks. Over the last 5 weeks, they're allowing the most points to the quarterback position. Also giving up 5 rushing touchdowns to quarterbacks in that span, which is the most in the league. So not saying start him in 1 QB leagues, but we personally play in a lot of super flex leagues, so we know how it is to need that solid QB2. So if you're in a super flex league, I do think he can be started as a QB2. Tevin Coleman, if he plays, was a good start just because of the volume he was getting, but he also popped up on the injury report with a concussion, so don't know about him anymore. But if he does play, he's averaging over 17, or he's averaging 17 opportunities over the last 2 weeks with Carter injured. Finished as a top 30 running back in both weeks. So it's clear that he's the preferred back as long as Carter is out. But the matchup is tough against the Saints against running backs. They're allowing the 5th fewest points to running backs over the last 5 weeks. So I'm tempering expectation, but if he does play, I think he's a flex option just because of the volume that he's been seeing. So that's how I feel about that game.
You like Ty Johnson if you don't?
I don't, man. I feel like that other guy might be the guy. I think the other guy might be
Walton, something like that.
Walter or some shit, because
Ty Johnson just has his role, I believe, like that.
Exactly. I think he's still going to be using that passing down role. So, and he could be a good play because they're underdogs in this game. So, if they're trailing by a lot in this game, then he could be the guy. But I still think if you're looking for that guy that is going to get the most volume, I think it would be Walter if Coleman's out.
For sure. Shout out to MP, man. Make sure you like and subscribe, bro. Appreciate your question. You guys starting Javonte or CEH? Is Melvin Gordon playing?
He's practicing, so it does look like after that game Javonte had last week, I would imagine that Melvin Gordon really wants to come back.
I'm pretty sure he's on the fucking
that shit was crazy.
highway.
He literally lived up to the hype that everybody had. Like,
For sure.
Fantasy Twitter was going crazy last week, bro. So,
I seen a couple takes on Twitter that was like Javonte gonna have a dud, he gonna drop. I was like, what? Have you not been watching him play?
Clickbait right there, bro. Because it's no way.
Go ahead and answer my bad.
I mean, it was a possibility. It was always a possibility.
I think I still like him. I think I like him over CEH because CEH is split in time basically with Darrell Williams. So I like
both
him.
splitting time.
But he's going against the Lions. He's splitting time and they're gonna run the ball.
Exactly. So yeah, it's Javonte definitely.
Javonte or Amari at the flex.
I feel like for me, Javonte, if Melvin Gordon is back, you got to look what he's been doing throughout the whole season. So I feel like he's back down to 10 or 8 to 12 points, where I feel like CH has a higher ceiling. I don't really know.
Does he though?
Yeah, I don't really know Javonte Williams. Matchup, but I know Clyde.
The Lions. He's playing the Lions.
CEH, he playing the Raiders, and they allowed the 3rd most points to running backs, and he's the leading back. He got 17 touches last week, and he's leading the backfield, and he got the same amount as passing attempts as Darrell Williams. So I feel like CH has a higher ceiling than Javonte Williams with Melvin Gordon back. We just got to assume Melvin Gordon is going to come back and assume his regular role. We just don't know yet, and that's how I'm looking at it. So I know CEH is the main guy in this explosive offense who has a great matchup. So I like CEH more.
Yeah, I agree with what he said right here. I just don't think they see what Javonte Williams he's the back of the future. Melvin Gordon is just there for right now. I don't think they see what he did last week and be like, yeah, let's give Melvin Gordon some more catches.
But it's week 14 and it's playoffs. You need. You know, so you know,
not a make or break. He said
CEH is going to be the head guy, even if he's getting 70% of the touches. He's going to get, you know what I'm saying? We don't know what Javonte is going to get. He can be back 50-50, so that's why I feel like CH is safer. And Amari Cooper, he has a great matchup. Washington is allowing the 5th most points to wide receivers.
Let's get to that game.
It's a lot of mouths to feed, so I like CEH.
So Javonte, then we got one for CH.
Yeah,
to put that on the record.
Cowboys at the Washington football team. Cowboys 4-point favorites with an over under 48 points, surprisingly high. We got Dallas Cowboys coming back. You know what I'm saying? Mark Cooper should be back after the COVID. I think a lot of people shitted on what's his name? Amari Cooper last week, but he only played 38 or something like that % of the snaps. So how you feel about Amari Cooper this week? Now you can, you know what I mean?
Well, Amari Cooper, he played, like you said, he played around 30% of the snaps last week after missing 2 weeks with COVID. He should see more work this weekend. He's worth around a start as a wide receiver 3 flex play with a great matchup because Washington is allowing the 5th most points to wide receivers. So I like him in the flex. Gallup targets could dip a bit with Amari Cooper back, but he's been a great player in a explosive offense when he's playing, and with another great matchup, you can start him in the flex. CeeDee Lamb is a start each week. He is wide receiver 16 in PPR leagues. My boy Dak Prescott, he been up and down the past for a week, but he is always a must start, and he will bounce back this week against Washington as they're giving up the most points to quarterbacks. Zeke, he played 64% of the running back snaps last week. He got 15 touches, but he didn't produce much in fantasy. He totaled 77 all-purpose yards and only scored 3 times since week 6. So I think it's time we come around on Zeke. This week he's going against Washington, and they're allowing the 14th fewest points to running back. At this moment in time, Zeke is a TD-dependent flex play moving forward. Since week 6, he haven't got over 77 all-purpose yards, bro. We got to kind of light, and it's time for the playoffs. Zeke is just a flex play right now. Pollard has averaged 12.5 points in PPR leagues in the last 4 games while only playing less than 42% of running back snaps. It's only a matter of time before he take over, bro. He is a dog. Pollard has been a playmaker for this team and a passing threat for the Cowboys. Even in this matchup, he is worth the flex play because he's just been coming through, and with all the injuries and the buys, somebody's going to be playing with him. He is a decent flex play even with this matchup. Schultz is averaging a healthy 6 targets this whole season, but the range of outcomes has been volatile playing alongside these wide receivers. Nevertheless, he is a streaming option against Washington, who are allowing the 15th fewest points to tight ends, but due to this explosive offense and the tight end land is so dead, I understand if you start him because I am. Y'all got anything for that side of the ball?
Nah, Carlos was right last week about Schultz.
Yeah, and I I'm still starting Dak, but just talking about Washington's defense. This is why, like, especially towards the end of the year, I like to look at last 5 weeks or 6 weeks compared to the whole year, because they actually have a interesting case, bro. Like, they lost Chase Young and they actually got better, on defense over the last few weeks. So they were allowing, like, if you look at the whole year, they're allowing the most points to quarterbacks. But over the last 6 weeks, they're only allowing the 11th most. So still a plus matchup, but it's not as easy. Like, teams are not able to pick on the football team as much as they are. So still starting them, but just being, aware of it's not super cake matchup anymore.
When they traded their name to the Red Raiders?
I don't know, bro. They might just stick with the football team, I feel like, at this point.
That shit kind of swaggy.
Yeah, I fucks with it.
On to the
other side of the ball, we got Taylor Heineke, man. He has been playing well lately, averaging 20 points in the last 4 games. The Cowboys are middle in the pack, 2 points allowed to quarterbacks. Therefore, he is a decent streamer option in quarterback 1 leagues and a starting quarterback 2 leagues this week. On to the running back, man. Antonio Gibson is finally coming through. I've seen a lot of, should we trade him now? Should we not trade him? And if you held on, he has been coming through in the last 4 games. He has got no less than 19 touches. He had 1 dead game against Carolina when he scored 8 points. But other than that, he's averaging around 22 points or higher in PPR leagues. He is a must start from until McKissick comes back. Of course, McKissick's going to eat into his work. I don't know. Hopefully, coach staff be like, man, this man's mustard. Let's feed him the ball. We've been winning when we're feeding the ball. Well, we don't know whenever McKissick come back. Just watch out for that. That could hurt him a little bit. But
when is he coming back? Is he practicing this week?
McKissick is.
I don't think he looked like the way they took him out. I don't think he's coming back, bro.
They say he back to practice. There's not.
Yeah, I think the injury was a little scarier than it really was.
No, these football players be on like that fucking what's the shit that Wakanda man be on?
Vibranium.
Yes, bro. Like, how the fuck do you get carried out on the stretcher with your face mask off? And that should be looking so scary.
And then you're just back at practice the next week,
bro.
So guys,
I just seen that. I just seen
you. He back in practice, and with McKissick out, Gibson been averaging 6 targets per game. So with McKissick in, that he gonna hurt into that, and that could bump Gibson down a few points. But he a must start. But McKissick is practiced in week. He haven't been clear yet, so look out for that. Still starting Gibson for sure. McKissick, I wouldn't start him just yet. Terra Mclaren has had 2 bad weeks in a row, scoring less than 10 points in both. He is a must-start against the Cowboys as they're allowing the 8th most points to wide receivers. Just look out for Curtis Samuels. He is a dynamic player who has been working himself back from a groin injury. This team is not healthy right now, losing Logan Thomas. No other player stepping up, working McKissick back. So Samuel should be somebody you're watching or have on your bench for a playoff team because they're going to throw the ball to somebody, and he may come through if healthy. So, just pick him up and hold, not a play. Rick Seals-Jones is stepping in for the injured Logan Thomas for the rest of the year. He averaged 10.5 points on 6 targets per game. While Logan Thomas was out in tight end premium PPR leagues, he is worth a start in all leagues for the rest of the season with a decent matchup. He plays Dallas and Philly twice throughout the playoffs, so I like him moving down the stretch at tight end or at a flex in tight end premium leagues. That's pretty much what I got for that side.
Over under with JD McKissick being out, 35 plus touches versus the Cowboys. Shout out to MP. He said that he the Cowboy killer. AP is.
I don't know about. I'm taking the under on that, but
yeah,
I can definitely see like 25 opportunities for him. Yeah, if you remember last year on Thanksgiving, they played the Cowboys, and that's when he had like his breakout game.
Yeah,
so
like 200 yards.
Yeah, he definitely can have a great game. I'm expecting him to have a great game. 36 though, that might be a little overkill, bro.
Like he said he did it. He said he Gibson. I gotta fact check that.
36. Last week he ran the ball 29 times and caught the ball 7 times. That's what I'm saying right there in PPR league. So have
relax, boy. That's boy. Goddamn, boy. I know it's working, but boy,
that's
scary, bro.
MP.
Scary,
but I'm just saying, MP. Like you saying you're not worried about his receptions, but that's where he been eating at the last 2 weeks. He has 7 receptions for 35 yards in PPR leagues. That's 7 points. And
I don't know about 35. 35 is high. I'll take the 30. I'll take the 30 though.
Yeah, but I still think Gibson is fine. I just think his ceiling is not as high as it has been without McKissick there.
Yeah, we ain't talking about that. We just talking.
Terra Mclaren, bro, has been kind of.
Yeah, he's been kind of. That's the one.
He's either winning you a week or like just sinking you, bro. Like 58, 41, 7, 35, 59, 5,
I think
63, 51, 4. Like, bro, it's literally like top freaking 7 or like not startable.
And one more thing I was thinking about when they are in the playoff chase, one. And the other thing I was thinking about when you were talking is that it's going to be a lot of these teams with like bad quarterbacks. They're still going to have these same quarterbacks going into next year. It's not that many quarterbacks like in the draft. You know what I'm saying? That's coming out this year. That's crazy. That's
a couple free agents, but I don't think they're anyone talking about going to Washington.
Yeah. So I think the chances of Tyler Heineken being there next year is very high.
I think so, yeah. Especially,
and I think that's what they know too. That's why they said, "Fuck it, let's let him play." Because is Fitz not back yet? He got to be back.
Nah, he had some type of surgery just recently, so he's out for the year.
All right. On to the next game. We got Atlanta, the Dirty Birds at the Panthers. We still are like underdogs to the 2.5 point favorite Carolina Panthers with an over under 42.5 points. This is even after Cam having an ass of a week last week, like literally the worst week ever seen. And like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and they still like doubting us, but whatever. I got him as a friend.
They got a D line. We ain't got no O line.
They got defense.
Yeah, they got defense. Right. Yeah.
Man ain't gonna have no time.
Why you say it like that? Man ain't had no time.
I'm not saying he ain't gonna have no time. You see,
that's a big fact.
Did you play? Man, it's trash. I'm like, bro. If you still
you don't have no time, bro. I've been saying that this whole year, bro. Man, Javon, you ain't believe that. You've been talking about he's sorry too.
I ain't saying he's sorry. You talking about he a top 12 quarterback in the league right now? And I'm like, bro, yo, chill.
If you
I ain't saying he was sorry. I'm just not agreeing on that. Matt is cool. Like if Matt was in Indiana, he'll be eating just like Wentz is. That's just it. That's just.
But that's the thing for players like Matt Ryan. They need everything around them to be good for them.
No, they just need like time in the pocket. It's not
that's part of the equation, bro. Like you see people
I think he could do it when he was wide receivers though. Breeze always
players that elevate their team.
They've always had offensive line, bro. They've always had good offense. If all of them teams, they might not have had wide receivers, but they had top 5 offensive lines. They've never been a fucking ass offensive line. And
I guess he just has the worst luck out of all the.
He does. He be having like the fucking bottom 5 offensive line.
I'm done making excuses for this guy, man. I was one of those guys. I'm not in.
Matt Ryan is a decent quarterback.
He is, bro, but he needs everything around him to be perfect for him to be good, bro.
Atlanta ain't where it's at for him.
This is not a Falcons podcast, bro.
Matt Ryan go to Denver. He a new man. Real talk. If you go to Denver, he a new man.
A lot of weapons and everything.
He got a decent O line, everything to work for. He a new man in Denver. We need a mobile quarterback in
Miami. He just needs to go somewhere with a top.
They have
15.
a worse off.
I mean, I didn't mean to say that. That was just the top thing in my head. He needs to go to a top 15 offensive line in the league, and he'll be a great quarterback. Anyway, but that's what we were supposed to be. That's why we drafted. Never mind, this is not Falcon podcast. Anyway, Cam Newton, like I said, man, I got him as a fringe player, even though he put up that ass of a week throwing 5 completions out of 21 attempts last week. He was only able to get 5 yards on the ground. That's the scary part to me when I think about all that. The 21 attempts is like I always think Cam Newton arm is ass, like for many of years now. I've been saying the same thing. But he just been surviving on that running shit, like especially in New England. He was scoring all the goal line touchdowns. But he only had like 5 yards last week. That's alarming. He looks washed up there to me, but Atlanta is bleeding fantasy points to the quarterback over the last 4 weeks. They're 3rd in the NFL, but that's because people throw against us. And if Cam Newton can't throw against us, then I don't know. But he always has that rushing upside. The Falcons have only allowed 38 yards to the rushing, 38 yards rushing to the quarterback since week 10. So, oh no, man, we're gonna see what he do.
But look at the rushing quarterbacks over the year, though. They all have 8.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts.
And another thing, just before you move on, they did fire the offensive coordinator. And I believe one of the reasons for that is because Cam Newton had 5 rushing yards. Like, you're not about to bring Cam Newton in here for 5 rushing yards, bro. Like
21 attempts, but they was getting ass.
It's not gonna work.
A sit, of course, I got Robbie Anderson. Like you mentioned, they did have the new offensive coordinator come in, but he's not trustworthy right now. Robbie Anderson could turn out to be a guy, but we don't know that. DJ Moore, I do like him. Nothing flashy, but he's been decent. Wide receiver 18 on the year. Even with the struggling Cam Newton, he's still like the number 1 target getter. Last week he got 10 targets out of the 21. So I do like him. He does have a bad matchup this week against AJ Terrell. You know what I'm saying? One of the best cornerbacks in the league, played for the Falcons. PFF got him ranked up there, giving up a less than 50% catch rate on the year. So that's just a little red flag about him, but I still like him as this week. Starts, I got Chuba Hubbard. He's just a lesser version of CMC, but you got to start him. Way lesser. Two touchdowns, only 100-yard game in the 6 weeks when he was a starter. So it's not really good, but he did have a healthy 82 yards, and he scored the last time that he did play the Falcons. So I do like him. The Falcons giving up the 9th most fantasy points to the running back since week 10. Another fringe player I got, I don't know if I mentioned him already, is Amir Abdullah. They looked like they wanted to get him involved, like right when Chuba Hubbard started to be looking like ass toward the end of that like 6-week streak. You know what I mean? Right before CMC came back, they were involving Abdullah a lot more. He was getting a lot more to touches. I do expect Chuba Hubbard to lead the backfield, but I'm willing. I gotta take like Amari, whatever his name is. Abdullah is in my lineup a lot for somehow. I don't know how that happened. Probably because I got so much CMC, but. Yeah, I'll take a stab on him against this soft Russian defense against the Falcons. I think he gets into the end zone.
Yeah, the Falcons are allowing the 2nd most receptions and the most receiving yards to running backs over the last 5 weeks. So he could definitely be a sneaky play this week.
I guess I like it in daily.
On the other side of the ball, I mean, the running back situation is crazy right now. On the other side of the ball, we got the only like locked in. Well, it's 2 locked and loaded starts. I got Cordell Patterson, of course. Not much to say about him. The Falcons go as Cordell Patterson goes. So if Cordell Patterson have a bad day, the Falcons gonna have a bad day, and so they don't see that happening. In week 8, he did play 60% of the snaps. That's the most he's played all season. He finished with 14 touches, 72 yards, and a touchdown. He's only had 2 games under double-digit PPR points this whole season. And the first game was the first game of the season when he wasn't the Cordell Patterson yet. The other locked and loaded start I got, I'm gonna take a victory lap on it, is Russell Gage, man. You know what I'm saying? He's been pretty decent over the last 4 weeks. He's had 30 targets, making him the 11th most targeted wide receiver in that span. He's pretty much the number one wide receiver, Calvin Ridley being out. He's only found the end zone once, but he has had 2 double-digit points in that span. So I do like him. He did see 0 targets that first matchup. That was pretty gross, but I don't see that happening again. Hartsfield, who he matched up in the slot most of the day against, he's allowing a 73% catch rate. So I like him as a flex wide receiver this week. A fringe play, I got Kyle Pitts. I know he like a lot of
you start him, bro. You starting him if you got him. I
don't even think you like have
starting to get to the point where it's not no must start with him, bro.
Yeah, like I don't think you have to at this point. I'll start Tyler Conklin over Kyle Pitts this week.
At the end, I'm still starting him over Conklin. At the end of the day, I feel like I will still start him just because he gave us a taste of that freaking upside he has, bro. But I feel like you don't want to like risk that happening again, but it's not.
If you needed a win this week and against the hold on, I'll go through my spiel.
And also, why
he hasn't reached the end zone since week 5. The volume, you know what I'm saying, like we mentioned, hasn't been the problem. He's only had less than 7 targets twice this year. So I think the regression will hit eventually, but it'll probably be next year. I don't think it'll.
It's just the red zone usage. Like
we're not getting to the red zone. We don't get to the red zone.
Use him more until we get to the red zone, and then use him when you get there. Like they're not man.
And if y'all remember, Kyle Pitts when we played the Panthers the first time was Stephen Gilmore pretty much locked up Kyle Pitts. So they have a recipe on stopping Kyle Pitts also. So I like Tyler Conklin over him this week. So I don't think.
Well, hopefully they focus more on Russell Gage. So.
Yeah, I was just about to say
you went balling Panthers. If you're listening, Gage is our number 1, and Pitts is not. So I mean.
If Gage come out and produce this week, bro, he'll good flex play moving forward.
No, he is. That's what I'm saying.
He's a good play. I think he's a good flex play now, bro. He had 13 targets last week, bro.
Yeah, that was last week. But I'm saying
he had 7. He had 9 targets the week before that.
If he do it this week, he doing it against a good defense. That's all I'm saying. Like,
we don't play good defenses.
Not really. Last week was a good matchup, and the week before that
we played Jags the week before. So
yeah. All right. So you got anybody else on the Falcons?
No, sit Matt Ryan.
Facts.
I always sit Matt Ryan right now, bro. This is ugly. She.
He had 7. He had 8, 7, and 13 in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, they've been feeding him, bro. They finally realized
that's better than most of your favorite wide receivers out there.
Yeah, he's the best receiver that we have, and with them shutting down Pitts every game, like they have to go throw to somebody.
They have to throw to somebody. It's not gonna be fucking Tajay fucking Sharp. Fucking hate that guy. Anyway, the Jags played the Titans. Let me get an over under for that game. You got over under. It's an 8-point favorite at Titans with an over under 43.5 points. Another low scoring game. How you feel about the Trevor Lawrence experience?
It's not
Everybody
good
was craving over him over the off-season pause.
I get it all this week, but to be fair, all the rookie quarterbacks ain't been doing shit this year, bro. So I'm not willing to throw in the towel yet on him. It's just his rookie year. Doesn't really have a competent coach like that either. So. Still great dynasty hold, but he's in redraft. He is definitely a sit for me. Since returning from their bye in week 8, he's the 23rd ranked quarterback, averaging a measly 10 points per game. Gross. Hasn't had a multi-touchdown game since week 1. Gross. Titans are pretty, they're allowing the 6th most points to quarterbacks over the last 5 weeks. So maybe in QB2 leagues, but it's still a question in those leagues, but I'm not even like considering him in 1 QB leagues. He is off my radar. He's not even on my team in 1 QB league. So don't like Trevor Lawrence in for 1 QB leagues. James Robinson, he is a start for me. Did a little worried at the last week with him getting benched after fumbling. I know the coach came out and said Urban Meyer came out and said it was injury related. But he came in like at the end of the game, and it's like no way that you're going to. If your guy's really injured, bro, you're not going to put him in at the end of the game. And Robinson even came out and said he felt like he was benched, bro. So he got benched last week because he fumbled. So, But if you take away that,
Urban is out of there, bro.
I'm telling you, he's so weird, bro.
He'll probably come back with a vengeance this week, bro. I got a James Robinson revenge week coming.
And it just seemed like Jacksonville, they just trying to get like, if you do something good in the college around there, you know, they just want to sell tickets. Come to, you know, I don't know, bro.
Shut up,
my bad.
No, you good. But you know, not including last week. If you look at the previous 3 or I think it was 3 weeks, he averaged 18 opportunities per game, finished 18th or better in all 3 of those games, and he's also hit that mark in 7 of 11 games this year. So he's basically their entire offense at this point. Again, he was last year, and he's pretty much doing it again this year with Trevor Lawrence playing like shit. So it's going to be – I feel like it's hard to see him not returning to the workload that we were accustomed for him to get throughout the year before he got benched. So definitely starting him. Matchup is tough, but if he does return to that usual workload, then I think he'll be fine. And I have him now as like an RB2 this week. And that is it. I'm not touching the Jaguar receivers. It's basically a roulette when you think about who's going to be the leader in targets, especially since Dan Arnold is hurt for the year now. 1 week is Marvin Jones, 1 week is Chenault, 1 week it's Treadwell of all people. So your guess is as good as mine, and so I'm staying away from all of these guys. On the other side, Ryan Tannehill, he's a sit for me. Julio was activated off IR, so his weapons are starting to return. Problem is that Julio has been a shell of himself all year, so I'm not sure how much is going to help Tannehill. Over his last 4 games, Tannehill, he's only finished as a QB1 once, and he's finished 17th or worse in the other 3 games. And Jaguars has been pretty solid against QBs over the last 5 weeks. They're allowing the 8th fewest points to the position. So 2 QB leagues, again, I'm cool with it, but 1 QB leagues, I'm looking for other options. Yeah, so that's how I feel about that. Dontrell Hilliard, he did have a good game in Week 12 against the Patriots before they went on bye, but I am worried about him this week. He was operating as a primary pass catcher running back. He ran 52 routes in those 2 games that McNichols missed, but he's coming back he's expected to come back this week. So I'm not sure if McNichols is going to slide back into that role or if they're going to like split that pass catching role. So I would sit both this week just to see how it plays out. And the Titans are heavy favorites this week, so they might not need to throw much anyway. They're 8-point favorites at home. So I'm sitting both him and McNichols. If he's
choose one, bro. You gotta choose one. People got a lot of people out.
Beyonce Foreman is the guy I would go with. He did have his best game of the year. Can I finish, please? He did have his best game of the year against New England before going on bye. He had 20 opportunities and had 112 scrimmage yards. Jaguars are allowing the 7th fewest points to running backs over the last 5 weeks, so it's not an easy matchup. But y'all know I'm a big fan of running backs that are home favorites. So with them being 8-point home favorites, then I think he's in the flex conversation this week.
No, I didn't know that, Carlos. Tell me more.
Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah, big fan of running backs that are home favorites. I've been saying it for the last 3 years. You want to listen to motherfucker?
Oh, my bad.
So anyway, Julio Jones, if he does play, hasn't done much this year, but he should see the volume if he does come back with A.J. Brown still on IR. Jaguars have been stout against pretty much every position except wide receivers over the last 5 games, allowing the second most points to receivers in that span. I am fine waiting to see just how healthy he is before starting him because that hamstring could give him problems again. He can go out and, be done for the year or whatever. But if you do need to have, like a low-end wide receiver 2, high-end wide receiver 3, I am fine starting Julio because of the matchup and the volume that I'm expecting for him to see. So, and that's all I got for that game.
Please, Julio. No, that's all I got to do. On to the next one.
I think with just one more with I think you can start Hilliard in the flex. He's seen 12 attempts last week, and they should be up again. So even if he doesn't get work in the pass game, he still got a lot of work on the in the rushing end.
That was without McNichols, though.
True. Oh no, it'd be hard because he was
too much uncertainty.
Crazy. I got you.
And I think the only reason
he had one big play
though down game was because of the Patriots. They played the Patriots too, so I like Deontay Foreman.
Yeah.
The Chiefs are 9-point favorites at home against the Raiders with a 48-point over under. We got Patty Mahomes coming back to Patty Mahomes type things. How you feel about him this week?
Patty Mahomes, man, you already know what you're gonna do with Pat, man, but he hasn't scored more than 20 points twice. He hasn't scored more than 20 points twice since week 4, but he's still quarterback 6 on the year. You still starting Pat through this rough stretch with the Raiders allowing the 13 fewest points to quarterbacks. So, you're still throwing Pat out there. He can just come back and become himself at any moment. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he returned last week, was the primary early down back and caught the same amount of passes out of the backfield as Darrell Williams. He totaled 17 touches for 9 points in PPR leagues. He is a must-start as a running back, 2 against the Raiders, who are allowing the third most points to running backs in PPR leagues. Tyreek Hill, he is always a must-start, but temper expectations against a stingy Raiders defense. The rest of the wide receivers are desperate flex plays that the Raiders are allowing the 6th fewest points to wide receivers all year. Travis Kelce is a tight end 1 on the year and a must-start each week. And the Raiders are allowing the 4th most points to tight ends this year, so he should eat. That's pretty much on that side of the ball. On the other side, we got Derek Carr, who is surprisingly quarterback 14 on the year and has attempted at least 35 passes in 4 of his 5 last games. So that's a lot of opportunities for Carr to get points. Carr is a start in all formats against the Chiefs, who are allowing the 8th most points to quarterbacks. But temper expectations. The Chiefs defense have been playing a hell of a lot better lately. But Brad's throwing the ball 35 times per game in the last 45 times. I can't leave it on my bench unless you got like Pat Mahomes or a top 10 play. Moving on to the other side of the ball, moving on to the running back, we got Josh Jacobs, who is a must start down the stretch. He's seen at least 22 touches in the last 2 games. It should be another productive week for Jacobs, as the Chiefs are allowing the 14th most points to running backs. On to the wide receivers. Hunter Renfrow is the only wide receiver you start each week. He has seen around 9 targets per game since week 7. With Waller out, he should see more targets, and the rest of the wide receivers on the team are desperate flex plays, as the Chiefs are allowing the 9th fewest points to wide receivers. And that's pretty much it on that side. That was real quick.
Just heads up, I'm never tempering expectations if I have Tyreek Hill. Just putting that out there. It can happen, but been like a little points every game.
Yeah, he has been like a little fucking like, you know what I mean, like not Tyreek.
I think that's more so of the way that they're playing now. Like they are not taking those deep shots down the field anymore. They're playing good defense, and they are like just dinking and dunking their way down the field. Like Patrick Mahomes is still Pat, so he's going to convert on these 3rd down conversions more times than not. So I think that's more of the cause than just him. But
I think other teams' defenses are the cause too. Like they're not like a lot of teams playing that cover 2 shell against.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So they're taking what the defense is giving them. They're playing dink and dunk. You know what I mean?
For sure. On to the last game of the episode. We got the 7.5 point favorite Seattle Seahawks at the Houston Texans with an over under 41.5 points. Seattle, I got Russell Wilson. Pete Carroll kind of let him cook last week. 30 threw the ball 37 times. Is the most he's thrown all year. Completed 30 of them for 231 yards and 2 touchdowns. Really efficient, pretty much like Russell Wilson. And he rushed for another 15 yards, so that was always a good thing. Houston, believe it or not, is giving up the 3rd fewest fantasy points to the quarterback position over the since week 10. But that's primarily due to a lot of teams just running the ball down Houston's throat, not necessarily due to them being good. I just fear that Pete Carroll, you know what I'm saying, loves to run the ball, and Alex Collins is expected to be back, so it might be one of those games where Russell just sizzles again instead of cooks. Speaking of the running backs, I like Rashard Penny. He looked good last week, but Alex Collins is expected to be back. He did miss last. abdomen injury. But neither of them has been really effective on the ground, so I don't really know why Pete Carroll keeps trying to run the ball as much as he does. You would think like they're doing good on the ground, but they're not. Houston is allowing the 11th most fantasy points to the running back position, though. So if Collins is named the starter, I do like him as a, just a got to throw in there running back just because of the volume he's going to get. But I think Penny, has a little upside. If you look, he has I think it was like one explosive play, not two.
You forgot about Adrian Peterson.
Yeah. I'm trying to stay away.
I got him on my
all of those guys.
I'm trying to stay away right now. And Pete Carroll, they got to run the football because their O-line is not good enough to block for Russell Wilson to pass the football.
DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, of course, he's going to start both of them. DK hasn't scored since week 5, but he's still getting that volume you would expect. Minus the week 12 game where he only had 4 targets, he's still, heavily targeting around 7 to 8 targets a week. They both have a decent matchup this week, so they hopefully should be able to take advantage of it if they let Russell Wilson throw. A fringe player I got is Gerald Everett, has been getting a consistent amount of volume, target second.
Horrible game last week, bro. Did you watch it? He had a fumble, an INT. He had 2 INTs because of him, so 3 turnovers because of him.
Why the fuck did you just
yell at 2 fumbles?
Like
Oh, so 3 turnovers.
Because he has Gerald Everett.
Right. And one of them
horrible. God damn.
I traded Everett, but I do got him in one league. But
you remember, I don't know. I know we're not trying to tell the secret or anything like this, but
I had him as a sleeper.
Oh, okay.
He's gonna break out. Yeah, I stick with my guns. I had him as a sleeper.
Who did we have? I remember. Anyway, man, I got him as a fringe play this week. Like Javar said, he had an ass week last week. But he is since week 10 tied amongst tight ends in targets. Tied second amongst tight ends in targets with Gronk. So he's getting the volume. He just has scored 1 time, and he, like Javar said, dropped that touchdown last week. Texas have been pretty solid against defending tight ends, but that volume is hard to really deny. So how you feel about Gerald Everett? Gerald, now I'm not like Kyle Pitts, like Gerald Everett over Kyle Pitts. I'm not that crazy about Kyle Pitts because I still like Kyle Pitts over him, even though Gerald Everett.
Some people gonna start him
getting more volume. You'll start him over Kyle Pitts?
No, I'm saying some people gonna start him with injuries and all.
I would start him for sure, but not over Kyle Pitts.
Gerald Everett or Evan Ingram?
I like Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram been.
I feel like he got a 3rd string quarterback. I feel like he gonna get some targets just because he's gonna be closest to the line of scrimmage.
But he got the 3rd string quarterback. Boy, I like Evan Ingram.
No, I ain't saying I like him.
I know it sounds crazy.
But he gonna get targets, bro.
I don't think he's gonna try to throw the ball down the field.
Right.
Jake Fromm, though. Shout out to you.
Right, y'all seen Jake Fromm? Y'all like him? I mean,
no, we don't.
No, we don't.
Gerald Everett or Ricky Seals-Jones?
Ricky Seals-Jones for sure.
Yeah, same.
Conklin for sure too. Am I?
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So he is what he is.
On to the other side of the ball, pretty much the only person you're gonna think about starting is Brandon Cooks. He hasn't produced much as of late, but he's still the number 1 receiver out there in Houston. I actually think he benefits more. I tweeted this out. I think he benefits more from Davis Mills being the starter again because Mills is pretty much locked on to Brandon Cooks. You know what I'm saying? It's Brandon Cooks or nobody, and I like that. Through weeks 2 through 8, where Davis was the starting quarterback, he's tied for 6th in targets in the NFL. He was a wide receiver 19. Then through weeks 8 through 13, when Tyrod Taylor came back, he was the 20th wide receiver in targets and the wide receiver 30. So I like the Davis Mills effect. He could actually solve the world's problems. So thank God Davis Mills is back, and you sit everybody else.
Agreed.
Yeah, pretty much it. That's wild.
Yeah.
At this point of the year, certain teams are just so easy to cover, man. Like you starting just 1 or 2 players and moving on.
Next week is gonna be even better because, like, if you're in the playoffs, you probably don't have like half of those ass players.
Yeah, exactly.
So you don't even have to, for sure. But yeah, man, that's the end of this episode. Damn, we got out of here in an hour. That's what's up.
Nice.
Be on the lookout. Part 2 Friday, same bat time, same bat channel. Thursday night football. Who is it?
We got the Steelers and the Vikings.
This is a good
that's
one.
gonna be a good one.
Yeah.
Boy.
Who you got?
Vikings. They got to pull it together after last.
Vikings need a win too. They need one bad.
Yeah, I'm going with the Vikings.
I got Steelers.
Now fuck that. I'm going with the Steelers.
Yeah, I was say I got the Steelers.
They got all their weapons healthy. The defense back. You're right. Steelers. You're right.
We can all go with the Vikings.
Yeah, damn, I was trying to be the Vikings now.
I'm going with the Vikings now.
Okay. I'm still going with Steelers though. Unless y'all got something else, I think that's it for me.
Make sure you take your Thursday night players out of the flex.
Shout out to
tomorrow.
Everybody that made the playoffs in the session takeover.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody but Carlos did.
Damn it.
That's
Kyler Murray literally sunk my team, bro. I was literally top 2 the whole year.
Mm.
The whole year, and I lost last week, and it bumped me down to 4, bro.
Yeah, I seen that because you had to buy last week.
I was like, bro, what the hell, man? Oh well.
Shout out to all the people that participated. You know what I mean? Shout out to everybody. Shout out to the cause that we donating to. I'm not gonna lie, I forgot it off the top of my head right now. But also, if you didn't get in this year, man, make sure we get in next year. We're gonna be bigger and better. Let me find the outro.
Peace.
We out. See you in a couple days.
Yeah, finish.